Hi folks, welcome to the Prepared Homestead. This is Travis. Thank you all for stopping by to watch. We're kind of gearing up for potential storms. I know some of you are more directly involved in that hurricane that's coming through. A lot of you, I know my listeners live down in Texas, especially South Texas, Houston, Galveston, Corpus Christi, all that whole area along there. I've got family down there. But that hurricane is expected to make its way up through Oklahoma, Arkansas, and even here in Missouri. So, we may get some flooding here. So we're kind of getting ready for that. I'm not complaining about that. We could always use more moisture in the ground around here because it dries up so quick with the heat that we've been having. I want to put a link down in the description and down in the comment section for you. Some of you may not have any interest whatsoever, but others you might have an interest. It's to Palmetto State Armories, their sales that they have. And if you're that kind of person and you got a little extra green stuff, you might want to stock up because boy, things are crazy. A lot of stuff is crazy right now, and it wouldn't hurt to have a little extra, freedom seeds and boomsticks on hand because it's just getting that way. There are rumors floating around on the internet, and these are just rumors. I did a little bit of digging. I can't find any kind of substantial source or anything to back this up, so it could just be nothing. But there are rumors floating around that Joe Biden will probably drop out of the race within the next, 7 to 14 days, a week or two. That's not a big surprise to everyone, but it's out there. Patriot Front, which is, I don't know if I've ever even mentioned these guys in a video. These are these goons that they walk around in blue shirts and khaki pants, and their faces are covered, and they carry American flags and Confederate flags and all this kind of stuff. And there's pretty much everyone online believes that they're feds. Probably so, but who knows what they're doing. They just walk around. Well, today they were marching around in Nashville. But at the same time, the Black Hebrew Israelites, their extremist group, was doing the same thing down in Louisiana. So does that mean anything? I think that this stuff's gearing up for the election cycle. They're gearing up for things being chaotic. And you better start getting ready for it. Probably the bigger news that's going on right now that I can see is that it appears, this could change, I admit, but it appears that France is on the verge of collapsing, or on the verge of a civil war, or on the verge of some type of greater chaotic event, which they've already had a lot of chaotic events. It's been pretty much nonstop rioting and very violent rioting in the streets for a while there. And they had a new election, voted some conservatives in, and then the liberals did this kind of hostile sort of takeover. There's reports today that Antifa is organized and they're all over the streets of Paris. And there's lots of videos out there that looks pretty bad. And there are, again, people talking about that France is on the verge of a civil war or just a complete breakdown. In fact, I did see that some of you may not know who it is or may not care who it is. I think his name is pronounced Amir Zafari. If I'm pronouncing that wrong, I don't care. Amir Zafari has stated that he believes that France is just days away from some type of civil war, breakdown of system failure, basically. I think that this is probably pretty significant. I think that this is even though it's just France, and France does have a long history of revolutions and stuff, I think that this is probably the precursor to what we're going to see in other Western nations, because over the last few weeks and months, we have seen what appears to be a conservative pushback in many areas, including the United States. Many countries seems to have elected a new prime minister or some new government that is more conservative, and then all of a sudden this kind of stuff happens. And I think that we are watching a real battle right now between the globalists. Some people call it the white hats and black hats. I don't know. And I think that it's quite possible, I'm not saying 100%, but I think it's within the possibility of what we're seeing happen in France right now will be happening here in the United States. And while, some of you might say, oh, that's taking things to extreme. Did you sleep through 2020? Because we saw pretty much the same kind of stuff on the streets all over the United States with the BLM, George Floyd kind of stuff. And Antifa, of course, was involved. And that was, definitely involved in the whole election process then. So I suspect that we are going to potentially see something like that. I mean, summer's really just getting started. And there's plenty of time. There's months away before the election happens. And so I think that it's a good possibility. I'm not saying 100%, but it's a good possibility that this is what we will have to deal with. There's already been all kinds of violent outbreaks increase in American cities. Of course, there's also, diseases floating around, and increase in H5N1. There's like 4 confirmed cases now in the United States. There was a confirmed case of the plague. I believe it was in Colorado the other day. And there's been more experts say that they believe that the H5N1 is the next pandemic. And to get ready for it, we've got the government giving money to Moderna or whatever to develop a new vaccination, an mRNA one. We've got lots of tests being purchased, all of this kind of stuff. And then we're seeing, along with that, a buildup of tension and violence and provocateurs that are, they're out there like they're gearing up for it, right? They're kind of showing their stuff, gearing up for it. And then what we're seeing in France, while there may not be a connection, I believe that there is. And I think that we need to sit up and take notice of this, folks. That's why I mentioned in the beginning, if you need to order some stuff, you know what kind of stuff I'm talking about. If you need to order some stuff, you probably should do that. You should probably be stocking up, because I know that we all lived through the summer of love, BLM Antifa stuff. I suspect if it happens again, that it will be way worse. I think we're getting to a pretty critical point in our country's history. And as much as I despise politics and the whole election process that is not what was originally meant to be, but what is developed in this country, as much as I despise it all, I do see that this election in November is probably a very critical point, whether it's a turning point one way or the other, for this globalist expansion and takeover. And we got to get ready for it. There are so many things happening right now. And just watching France fall apart and go into very possibly some type of civil war, revolution, breakdown of society. I understand there's a whole lot of things, of the reasons why that's happening, that may not be exactly what's going on here in the United States. I get it. I know that. But I think we're seeing the future play out for us. None of it's good. Israel is attacking still in Hamas, Gaza. Lebanon is saying that they're going to go to war with Israel. Israel's been attacking into Lebanon too. Russia and Ukraine is heating up constantly. It's just a constant progressive movement, even though, now Zelensky's backing off and saying, listen, we need to come up with some kind of ceasefire peace deal. Well, if that happens, that there's going to be something happen. I mean, that would be, to me, the perfect scenario for some kind of false flag to get NATO involved. Do you really think that Biden, the NATO, and the globalists want to lose that and want to hand over, possibly large portions of Ukraine and biolabs and everything like that to the Russians? No. And so there's a perfect scenario of a false flag being cooked up right there. We need to wake up. We are in a very critical place right now. And while it still could be weeks away that things happen, well, guess what? That's why we do what we do, of getting ready ahead of time. We need to stay ahead of the curve, stocking up, getting ourselves prepared, having your your plans laid out and gone over and rehearsed so that you know what to do when things start getting really crazy. And they may not get really crazy here in the United States right away, but there's a strong possibility they will eventually get really crazy here in the United States. And you need to be geared up and ready for that. It's time to get your houses in order, folks. It's time to prepare yourselves mentally, physically, and spiritually. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you in the next video.